I'm sitting here asking myself if the internet really needs another Oxalis video, but apparently you clicked on this one, so I guess the answer is yes. Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Caitlin from Leave Me Alone Plants, and today we are going to be talking about care in troubleshooting your Oxalis Triangularis. Hey guys, quick editor's note. So I am just finishing up editing this video and I have to address the elephant in the room. What is going on with my hair in this video, you guys? Oh my god. I mean, listen, I know you guys come here for my good looks. Just kidding. But I really don't know what happened in this video. My hair appears to be something between a disgruntled 5-year-old and an untamed lion. So I'm just gonna leave that there for thought's sake, and hopefully it doesn't distract you guys too much throughout the rest of this video.
Oh, you nasty.
Now, typically I don't say like fancy names of plants, but that one is just so satisfying to say. I haven't showed you this plant yet. I am actually trying to avoid moving this plant too much, but let me bring it close real quick for you if for some reason you have never seen one of these plants before. Now, we'll get into this more in the video, but basically these plants can close up if they're moved too much, so I don't want to jostle it around too much just yet. But if you have one of these plants, or if you are looking to acquire one of these plants, then keep on watching and I will tell you how to keep this guy happy and healthy. Now, I have had this plant for about 2 years, and I know what you're probably thinking. Well, for having this plant for 2 years, that's not that impressive of an amount of growth. Now, you're not wrong, but what I will say is that for a very long time, honestly for years on this plant, I had a problem with fungus spots on the leaves. As a matter of fact, when I purchased this plant, it had fungus spots on the leaves. Now, that was about 2 years ago, and just recently, within the last couple of months, I was finally able to get rid of them completely. So if you have that problem with this plant, I will get into it a little bit later in the video, but we will start out with the basics, of course. Now, I actually fell in love with this plant before I had even been into houseplants. My aunt, who I actually don't think is into plants, has one of these in her house, and I remember going there and seeing it and just thinking that the 3 little triangle leaves were so cool, so unique, and so beautiful. Now, this plant is part of the clover family. I know most of us think of a 4-leaf clover when we think of clover, but typically clovers are actually 3 leaves, which is why 4-leaf clovers are so lucky, but maybe that's common knowledge and I didn't need to explain that. Now, the variety that I have is the completely solid purple variety. It looks like getting a little bit of a catch light from my window over there, so hopefully you can see that. And the variety that my aunt had is going to be that variety that is black with purple. Now, that is the variety that I'm really after, but I have never been able to find one of those locally. And then finally, there is a variety that I believe is completely green, and maybe one that is variegated green. Those ones are less common, but still beautiful. So the care is going to be essentially the same for all of those, so if you have a different kind, don't stress. It will apply to all of these plants. Now, as for lighting, well, I keep this plant in kind of a bizarre spot in my house. It lives on the top of my refrigerator. And while there are no windows necessarily near this plant, I actually have a spotlight. Well, not a spotlight, but like a light on my ceiling that is like a spotlight, and it shines directly on this plant. I leave it on for most of the day, so while it isn't getting like natural light, it is getting quite a bit of light, and it seems to really enjoy that. In fact, if you look at the side profile of this, let me try and bring it a little closer, and maybe you'll be able to see the stems are very thin, but you may be able to see that they are kind of all climbing out of one edge of the pot. For me, these leaves do really chase this light, so that might honestly even be a sign that it needs a little more. So with that said, really if you can give it a bright indirect light, it is really going to enjoy that. Try and keep it a little bit out of the direct sun, just because these leaves are so thin, so they probably will burn if you're giving it too much light, but you will notice that these absolutely stretch for that light and really just want to capture it as much as they can. So, you know, I guess give it as much as you can. As for watering, I go in and I water this plant about once a week, and typically when I go in for that watering, it is completely dry in there. I find that this plant dries out really fast for me, so I'm not sure if it's that the plant itself is sucking up so much water or what it is, but basically my rule of thumb is as soon as I start to feel the top of that dry out, then I will go back in with some water. Now I will say it doesn't give me too much trouble. If I miss a little bit in between there, you will notice it start to kind of droop down a little bit, but basically if you can just stay on top of it and kind of give it pretty frequent waterings, it will enjoy that. For me, these plants are super fast growers. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I have a couple little ones coming out right here and right here. For me, they tend to put out leaves all the time, so if you are somebody who likes a fast growing plant, then don't fret, this one is going to be a great option for you. And now you can probably tell that the sun is like going down right now, and one of the things that I think is super cool about this plant, I kind of mentioned it in the beginning, is that at the end of the night you will notice these plants will completely close up on themselves. They get super thin, and that is part of the reason why it has taken me so long to film this video. I typically film my videos later at night, and usually by the time I go to film this video, the leaves are all closed up, but I think I got it just in time today. It will probably be closing up any minute now. But the other thing that I had mentioned is if you, I don't really want to shake this plant around too much, but if you shake it around and if you're moving it and you're touching it, almost like the sensitive plant that we talked about on my channel, I'll pop that video right here. If these plants get moved too much, they'll actually start to close up from that too. So that is why in the beginning of this video I didn't want to jostle it around and bring it too close or too far, but apparently I haven't done a very good job of that because we've gotten up and down about 10 times. Or maybe it's in a spot where it's getting blown by a fan and you notice that it always seems to be closed up. That could definitely be why that is happening. Don't worry, your plant is probably still fine. It's just how this plant is. As for propagating this plant, it does have bulbs under the soil, so the easiest way to go in and propagate it, of course, is just going to be dividing it and dividing up those bulbs and you know, taking what you want and leaving what you don't want. Additionally, I did watch this video that you can propagate it from the petioles, which is basically just means that you would pluck out one of these stems very gingerly from the soil, and I thought it was really funny. The girl whose video I watched, I'll see if I can put it here. I can't remember the name of her channel, but she had this beautiful English accent, and what I found so funny about her video is she plucked the petioles out and she placed them in water to root up, and she goes, "In perhaps a fortnight they'll root up for you."
I waited for the root to develop more after another fortnight before potting it up.
And well, I guess for one, you can see why I'm into plants not acting. But for two, I thought it was so funny. Like, who says a fortnight? Please, if you're from the UK, comment down below if that's something that you say, because I didn't think that that was real life of something that people said. I absolutely loved it. So much love for her video. Please go check it out afterwards. But basically in her video, like I said, she just plucked out the little petioles and rooted them up in water, and that seemed to work from her. I had zero expectations of that working. So if you'd like more details on it, you know where to go. Now, as I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, when I had purchased this plant, it had little fungus spots all over the leaves. Now, I don't believe I have a picture of my plant personally, but I'll see if I can find one in Google and I will put it over here of what that looks like. For the longest time, I could not get rid of this, and it was constantly spreading from one leaf to the next, and it was really just giving me the hardest time letting my plant grow. Now, finally, I went in with a fungicide after a while, and that seemed to help it a little bit, but it was still spreading on the leaves. And ultimately, the thing that finally let me get rid of the fungus on these leaves was just going in, biting the bullet, and pulling out every single leaf that had any little bit of fungus on it so that it could not spread any further. That is why looking at this plant now, like I said, I have had it for years and it is not that impressive in size. That is the reason why I really quite recently had gone in and plucked out so much of that growth on there. Now it has been a couple months and I've never had that fungus return, so if you have that problem, 100% recommend doing that. I know it can be a little sad to really cut back your plants, but in the long run, I really think that if you are having that problem, that is the best way to solve it. Well, that is all I have for our Oxalis Triangularis video today, but of course, as always, if you have questions about this plant that I did not answer, drop them in the comment section down below. You know I love to answer your questions, love to talk to you guys in the comment section, so don't be shy, we'd love to chat with you there. While you're at it, if you got value out of this video, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'm not sure if this video will go out before we hit 1,000 subscribers, but once we do, I am doing a giveaway, so you will want to be around for that, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.